Well, hello there to everyone out there listening in the void that is the internet. Um, it is I, your friendly human in an alien suit, J.Ishiro Finney, author, and a guy who used to write a bunch of graphic novels. um, how's it going today? I've been having extreme sleep issues really since Tuesday, so my presence online has been very limited and scattered. I feel like I kind of get up, check to see what's going on in the world, and then fall back asleep mostly. It's not been the most fun. When I am awake, it's been between the hours of I don't know, 1 to 4 in the morning, and I'm sleeping way too fucking much. It's not a good thing. Not a good thing at all. Last night, actually around 6, resorted to a Xanax, and that knocked my ass out. So I've actually gotten a decent amount of sleep this time around. Um, so how are you all doing? We've got Owen, Ricky, and Underworld Dream. Oh, and Squeaky Pickles have all joined. So let's see. We've got Owen, Saint of the Guyver, Ricky Joya, who has not yet earned himself a nickname, but I'm sure one is coming. Underworld Dream, whose name is just too damn cool to actually apply a nickname or a change. You leave it as it is. Squeaky Pickles of the Double D's that we know now. That's bragging rights right there. Um, Good to see you all here. Actually, no, Owen. Last night, Kat showed me a review of a film, and it made us think of you. And I'm sure you will automatically know what it is when I bring it up. But anyway, this internet reviewer we watch, Chris Stuckman, who does various kinds of film reviews, did one on a movie called Star Kid with the kid from Jurassic Park in it. And if you ask me, it looked like a complete ripoff of the Guyver, but it was essentially, I don't know, it was like a cross between Guyver and I don't know, Kazam or Steel, where it was the kid gets a Guyver suit and has to fight kind of this zoonoid monster, and it's really actually kind of disturbing. It was supposed to be cute and heartwarming, but it really wasn't. Um, but yeah, we were watching the review and we're like, how is this not the Guyver? This is like lawsuit territory. Oh, all out of bubblegum. Well, all out of bubblegum. You've been awake since 3:30 this morning. You have insomnia too. Well, there are the two types of insomnia. There's the good kind and the bad kind. And I mean, the good kind is you're all ramped up. You should be asleep, but you're full of energy. That's great. You get a lot of shit done. That's some of the best time to write for me. The bad insomnia, which I've been having, is the type where you've got all the tiredness and it hurts. I mean, it fucking hurts. And you can't sleep, even though you really want to be asleep. And that's what I've been dealing with. Owen Lister, I know the film you're talking about. I actually watched the film and thought it was all right. But am I right? Is it a ripoff of the Guyver or not? And what we meant by it was kind of disturbing was in the review, apparently the kid can talk to the Guyver suit thing from the inside, and the face that's on the inside of the suit that talks to the kid is horrifying looking. There's a part where it like grinds the suit eats a hamburger, grinds it up into like a mash, and feeds it to the kid, which was kind of disgusting. And then it also included a scene where the kid needed to like use a ratchet or a screwdriver or something to undo his fly in the Guyver suit so he could take a leak at his teacher's house. And I was like, what the fuck am I watching? The hell is this shit? Let's see. Oh, Squeaky Pickles says she is actually watching the Guyver. Good morning. Clean your guns. That's not a bad idea. We were thinking about actually finally hitting the range today now that I'm awake. But it seems like we're going to be off looking at a potential house to move into not far from here. As all of you may know, we moved to Arizona a little over 6 months ago now with the intent that we would spend about a year in this apartment and then buy a house. But, you know, unfortunately now the house market has gone insane and our money might not go as far as we wanted it to by the end of the year. In fact, people are so in a hurry now to get the hell out of blue states. It's no longer just cities; it's blue states in general. That people are just flooding here. I mean, houses will go up on the market. I've been watching the listings. They'll go up on the market and then get pulled down within 5 hours. Already sold. People don't even tour the damn things; they just buy them. And the reason being is in the cities, they're scared of the violence, they're annoyed with the violence. And then outside of the cities, people are being very blunt. They want freedom back. They're sick of being locked in their homes. They want to go someplace where there's still a modicum of freedom, where you can go outside without a mask, you can still go out to eat. You can still go to church, shit like that. Real basic things. I mean, let's see. If you're in a blue state, what can you do? You can go to your dispensary and get weed. You can get an abortion. You can go to Walmart, Lowe's, or a Black Lives Matter riot. That's just about it. Anything else is illegal. And everything requires a mask except Black Lives Matter riots. So, I really don't blame people for wanting to get the hell out. I just don't want them to vote Democrat again and turn this state into the hellhole that they're leaving. As Owen. But you'll have to admit, the battle scene in the junkyard was pretty cool, at least to me anyways. Yeah, you know what, to be honest with you, I only saw the clips. I have not seen the full film. I just saw Chris Stuckman's review of it. So, I can't say. I mean, maybe it is a cool film. I just know that we were watching the review and I'm like, this is like a kid's version of the Guyver, man. Let's see. What do we got here? All out of bubble gum. Yep. What I have. Also, allergies are driving me nuts right now. Where are you located? It's monsoon season here. So allergies are a little iffy right now with the dust in the air, but to be upfront with you, compared to when I was in California, the desert is so much better for my allergies. Not gonna lie, the first time I saw the Guyver, I thought I was seeing some overfiend stuff. Well, some of it looks pretty overfiend, Okay, sorry, I'm drinking my coffee here. So yeah, Kat and I were thinking we're going to see. Yes, I did see that billboard. Welcome to Texas. Don't vote for what you fled. Exactly. I think every red state needs that right now on every entry point to the state. Oregon. Oh, yeah, you're in a tough spot, aren't you? Oregon's going nuts right now. I'm sorry, man. I am so sorry. But yeah, in general, our governor is, I don't know, it's kind of hard to make a sense of the governor we have here in Arizona. He's good on some stuff. He did real good with the economy, but I don't know. I think he's in over his head. I believe he was a CEO and a mayor. And it's weird. He'll cave to the pressures from the medical and the medical lobbies, and he'll cave to the press and all the assholes outside of state who want us to lock down as well. And he'll say stupid shit, and then no one will obey it. And it's kind of weird. He always has this look like he's about to cry. Our law enforcement have flat out said they won't enforce a lot of the shit he's saying. It's like, mandatory masks. So no, we're not going to enforce that. Not too bad. There were other things like curfews and stuff. And they're like, no, not going to bother. You do it yourself. It may, you may have passed that, but we're not going to bother looking. A lot of businesses are just opened anyway. I mean, it's actually kind of nice to see. Move to Mega City 1. Pretty good police. You mean the fictional Mega City 1. You don't mean the location. I thought you meant you moved to New York. That wouldn't be good. Kat, come back to bed. She is out. She is knocked out right now. But that doesn't mean I don't get free gropes while she's passed out. Don't get me wrong. That's fair game. Um, uh, Downer, I can't share my country with these people. Upper, more and more people notice every day. You know, actually, let's do that again. Chicken Sith, we'd like to bring you on at some point just to hang out, but also we're really curious your take on things. I had mentioned once before, if any of you want to come on air, and I'd like to do this on Mondays, where you come on the air with me and you just tell me what the reality is on the ground in your state, or at least in your local community, that would be good. I mean, we just have to come to accept that what we're seeing on the news, and even Fox News, who is supposedly right leaning, even they, you can't really trust what they're saying. I mean, at the end of the day, all of them are just sensational. Um, you can't trust it. So really, if we're going to get the truth about what's going on in the country, this is it. We talk to each other, and I'd love to get more and you on Mondays, and maybe you guys could just tell me and tell everyone listening, no, this is the reality of what's going on. And even if YouTube pulls it down within 24 hours, it doesn't matter. It's not going to change the fact that, well, to put bluntly, at least the people listening heard it, right? And word of mouth is a lot more powerful than let's mainstream news at this point is more trustworthy. Um, let's see. My mother walked in on me watching Miku singing in a field of flowers and wonders why her sinuses could handle such pollen because she is a she is a superior J idol. She is immune to such things. Endless Nocturne. Move to an autonomous zone. You want Hishi? You own a gun. You can be a warlord alien in a human suit. Kappa. I can own a gun and carry it around publicly here without issue, and I don't have to worry about anyone named Raz, the internet rapper who's declared himself Lord Humongous of the Wasteland. Thoughts on Eric S. Brown books? I'm very sorry. I'm not even familiar with the author. Squeaky Pickles. Agreed, Chicken Sith. We should give a couple states to the lefties and wall them off for the rest of us. New lefty states born on our side will get catapulted over the wall. Well, that's an interesting statement because they keep claiming they want to secede. And, if it came down to a choice between a hot war between blues and reds versus a wall and a balkanization, look, neither are preferable. We can all agree on that, right? Neither are preferable. But if it's a choice between war and balkanization, fuck it. We cut our losses. Let there be a blue America and a red America, and just be done with it. And I would be also all in favor of walls because blue America will want to let Mexico in. So yeah, we need walls and a border patrol and customs and tariffs even. I'm okay with that. That sounds, maybe we could even get some sort of thing where the two separate and it's got like this really strong bond or very strong treaties so that economically we're still functional. Just I don't know. We're so divided right now that I don't think any of this stuff should be off the table if it prevents us from shooting each other or tearing our cities up or allowing our cities to go up in flames. I'm open to alternatives. And what's interesting is that the BLM movement and Antifa both have been talking more and more openly that they want their own homeland. Have you noticed that? I mean, I know that CNN has been a little, and MSNBC have been a little iffy about broadcasting it. But if you listen to their leaders and see their statements, they keep demanding that they want their own homeland on U.S. soil. That's not a great situation, But shit, I mean, let's see. What are the states with the biggest black population? There's New York and oh shit, what's the other one? Is it Chicago or is it Atlanta? I forget which. But at this point, with the white population fleeing New York, I mean, if, shit, maybe just okay, New York. There's your homeland. You've got the signature city of the United States. The crown jewel in our supposedly the crown jewel of all our metropolises. Have New York. Done. There's your homeland. How about that? If that prevents a war, I'm okay with it. Maybe we could make some sort of weird agreement where it's like Puerto Rico, where it's still technically part of the U.S., but they have their own elections and their own laws and their own rules, and it's essentially that's the end of it. If it meant no more fucking riots, no more risk of us going at each other's throats, okay, do it. Why not? I mean, I could see worse solutions, right? And clearly the people, so it is Atlanta. Atlanta has the biggest population. It'd be a little rougher parting with Atlanta at this point because I don't think they're having the mass exodus yet. I could be wrong. But I do know that at this point, if things keep going as they are in New York, they may get the black majority they want because it seems like everybody's trying to leave New York except the black population. And I don't think that's a good thing, but it's kind of just the reality that it is. And clearly, technically a black homeland wouldn't be a black homeland. It would be for the people who demand such a thing. I think a very, very, very large portion of black Americans see themselves as Americans first, like the rest of us, right? Please, I hope. I know that my listeners who are all black or half seem to consider themselves Americans first. So I don't know. Did you even think that this BLM movement and these numbers we keep seeing, do you think that even represents the true majority of what is it, the 13% of black Americans? Do they really think this way, or do you think this is like a noisy 3% that are just insane, backed up by Soros money and bratty white college students who want to burn shit down? I mean, really, give me your opinion. I'm curious. Endless Nocturne. I guess we need a second Reconstruction. We got to deal with the economic, political, and social division caused by nanny states. True. Very, very true. We can't even communicate with far lefties anymore the way they speak newspeak, which is by design. They did that purposely, and they knew what they were doing, or at least the people at the top did. The college kids are unfortunately just brain dead sheep. There's not much we can do about that. Atlanta is spotty. I used to work in Decatur sometimes. New York, the big brownie. I thought it was called Gotham or something else. I don't know. I took a class on it. But, speaking of the chaos going on in this country, since that is the direction we veered down, well, Kat's not on the air. When Kat's on the air, I really want to keep this more lighthearted. I do feel it's a responsibility of ours to provide you with some entertainment that isn't about the chaos outside the window, something fun and funny, nonsensical, or just not related to that. But Nevada, can they have the radioactive areas? Problem with that. They're actually, that radioactive areas are actually kind of useful and valuable for other reasons. And I'm not just talking about dumping radioactive waste. A lot of those sites there are used for military purposes and they're useful. So, no, you sick fuck. God, I wish we, do we have any hoteps listening? And those of you who know what a hotep is, will know what I mean. If you got any, do we have any people who consider themselves hoteps listening? I would love to get your insight. I am very fascinated with that movement because if there's one group of people that talk about these issues who really seems to know what's up, it's that group. Those dudes seem to really have their thumb on the pulse on that issue. I'm positive it's primarily a Marx movement, using race in place of caste and treating small portions of blacks involved as frontline fodder. It's not even that's not even in question. That's absolutely true. I'll tell you, when I was in college, and I ended up working for a few of these activist organizations as a phone fundraiser. I paid my college rent, thinking I was doing a good thing by getting on phones and renewing memberships for groups like the California Peace Action, the Sierra Club, some clean water group, and one other. And let me tell you, you listen to these groups, and they would have their issue that they talked about up front. But if you got any of them actually talking in their group meetings, what they really wanted was a Marxist revolution. And it wasn't even like some sort of hush. It was out right there out in the open. It really wasn't about the environment or peace or demilitarization or any of that crap. What they wanted was a Marxist revolution. Not only that, these groups, they were primarily populated by white, upper class, white, college aged females and their boyfriends. But it was primarily ran by a horde of girls and like one or two guys that was banging all of them. I mean, that really was always the thing. There was 2 to 4 guys up top who really were running the show. Then they'd have their girlfriend who was the queen bee running everything, and then a whole bunch of women, and it would be like this twisted group sex thing. And before you think, oh, that sounds pretty hot, no, you wouldn't want to bang these women. Not only were they carrying just about every venereal disease in a public urinal, they had hairy legs and they were fat and they had horrible skin. These were ugly women. So this was no winning scenario. But they all openly talked about what they really wanted was Marxism, and they talked quite openly about minorities essentially being the frontline fodder. They envisioned themselves as the generals and intellectuals running the revolution, and that the poor blacks and the gangbangers and the Mexicans over in Oakland were all going to be their soldiers. And I don't know. We saw how well that worked out with Chez, right? They had their little Marxist utopia, and little did they know that one black dude with an AK-47 became their warlord within 24 hours by just showing up and saying, "I'm your warlord." So that's the truth of the reality. Wolf. Yeah, you know what? You're right. Considering, yeah, you turned me on to, was it Little Ripa and a few other people who were really, really good. Oh, by the way, the YouTuber I like is Yasmin Contours. Check her out if you haven't already. She is awesome. Um, but yeah, you're right. You probably could be considered a hotep, and you did definitely share some pretty enlightening information. Apparently, information's scary enough for YouTube to pull it down for a while, just make it disappear. Which, I mean, again, says a lot, doesn't it? Black guy starts talking, starts speaking truth. He says things that don't meet the narrative, and they censored it. Are we shocked? If we could give land to those losers, it would become a third world country in a month. Communism is a parasite to capitalism. It cannot live on its own. Absolutely true. It's a bit of a parody, and at times played more for laughs than it should be. But there's a very, very entertaining book called People's Republic that is exactly about that. And it was written in 2015 under the assumption Hillary would win. And it's set 10 years after a Hillary presidency in which there has been a civil war. And it's about this mercenary who's being sent into the new People's Republic of America, because what it is America separates into two nations, the People's Republic and the United States, and they're constantly at odds with each other. But it's about a mercenary who is kind of given a Snake Plissken type mission, except he willingly takes it for money, in which he has to go into the People's Republic and, well, Jesus actually is the plot to the second to Escape from LA, where a rich guy wants his daughter back who has gone over to the other side, and he wants this mercenary to go in and bring her back. And the novel is, while it's funny and it's definitely meant partially as just a brutal, scathing parody of, it's creepy how dead on and how many things it got right. Let me get a link for you. And it's written by a guy who, let's see, his name is Kurt. Oh, I'm going to brutalize it because it's a German name. Schlitzer? Schlittler? Hey, I'm mixed race and neither of them are German. I have an excuse for getting this wrong. Um, let's see. Give me a second. Wish Kat was here to fill in the gaps while I ramble like this. But this book is essentially about exactly what you're talking about, and it might be worth a look. I've been reading it on and off, and it's entertaining. Here we go. There we go. People's Republic by Kurt Schlitzer. Somebody phonetically spell that out to me so I stop screwing it up. But yeah, there are walls around the borders. The People's Republic are constantly sending in raiding parties because they've run out of food. It's bizarre how many things this book got right, because what he wrote, and then you see it in the chats, and you're like, holy shit, this is Seattle and Portland. Let's see. Millie Wigsy. That's a great name. A leftist threatened to beat me up just because I said othering black people. He was othering black people based on him, a white guy, saying they were black and how oppressed they were. Yeah, it's kind of become very bizarre that black is now a state of mind and white is a sin. It's not a ethnicity. Yeah, that woman, her vids are hardcore. Jasmine Contours, and she's really got a writer's voice. I think she should write a book, to be honest, if it's even just about her life and her opinions. Her monologues are so sharp. She's got a real talent. It's not easy to get that kind of passion in a monologue, much less prose. Okay. Hotep must be a cool movement when you Google the name and you get a bunch of mainstream articles about how misogynistic and everything phobic they are. Yeah. From what I can gather, and again, I'm speaking as an outsider, so I may be getting this completely wrong. From what I gather, Hoteps are primarily black men in their 30s and beyond who've seen this and done that, and seen the hell of the inner cities and lived all these things that are supposedly their disadvantages. They've lived the real thing and come out of it on the other end speaking the truth. And these guys know what's up. They've seen past the bullshit and they're speaking their mind, and they're not playing the game anymore. And so, that's a unique perspective that, you kind of have to live it to speak it, in my opinion. So, yeah, there's a very special insight to it. I would say if there was a female version of a Hotep, it would be Jasmine Contours. Let's see. Give them a desert island somewhere. Let's see. What's going on here? Well, if we're going to talk about this political stuff, here's something I recommend. We're not having enough fun with this. Yes, this shit's depressing. Yes, it's very concerning to see our own nation tearing itself apart. There are plenty of reasons to be upset, and it's easy to get depressed. I know I do. But at the same time, there is no fucking reason we shouldn't be having fun with this. These people have made themselves wide open targets for pranking. And I'm not even talking harassment per se. I'm talking pranking. We've got various politicians who have made themselves essentially targets by going on TV. I mean, Laura Whitmer. I mean, think about the possibilities of sending her complaints that seem legit on the surface, but underneath are just outlandishly insane or contradictory, and try and get her to actually get on board weird things that make absolutely no sense. That even our own movement, the whole Antifa BLM side might get offended about, like when the 4chan guys got all those dumb white girls in solidarity with Black Lives Matter to cut off their white girl hair. So they all shaved their heads in solidarity. And then they went to their next big Black Lives Matter movement, and everyone thought they were skinheads. That's genius. Why aren't we doing more of this? I mean, the pure chaos we could do just to make their lives difficult. If we can't go out there and actually confront them face to face, because let's face it, there are a lot of difficulties right now. When it comes to the point that we're dealing with them face to face, it's going to be violence. We all know that. And, we keep hearing over and over again, oh, well, where are the conservatives? Well, the conservatives know that when we actually go out there to confront them really face to face, when there aren't a wall of police between us, it's going to be a fight. We all know that. And that's why we're not in no hurry to do it. We'd rather see the police deal with it. We'd rather see the engine of government handle this in a legal and due process sort of way rather than go to outright chaos. So, we're not in a hurry to do that. I get that. But there's no reason we couldn't be pranking these fuckers right and left. I mean, could you imagine staging or convincing them all to gather at some rally out in the middle of nowhere, and then they show up and there's nothing there? Think about that. I remember once, and there was in college, somebody had faked a war protest, okay, about the Iraq War, where they had posted all over their college campus that they were going to kill their dogs in opposition to the Iraq War. And this was Gulf War I back in the 90s. And so you had all the PETA people show up, and you had all these lefties who were like, well, no, we can't kill our pets. And then you had all the lefties that were showing up to support killing the pets. And you had all the press showing up saying, yes, we've got to cover this. Can you believe this? All these college students are going to murder their dogs live on air to prove that they don't want a war. And they showed up and nothing happened. It was a bunch of idiots waiting for dogs to be murdered, and nothing was there. We can do shit like this. General confusion. Yeah, this was genius. This was another one that, we can definitely do this. The people were going to these Black Lives Matter and Antifa rallies, right? They'd find out where they were all gathering. They'd park their car and they'd go to the tailgater that the Antifa people would have before the riot. And they would dress in appropriate garb so they looked like they were part of the gang. And then when all the Antifa people went marching out to burn and loot and do their stupid shit, the Trump people stuck behind and waited. They busted out a crate full of Trump 2020 stickers and would randomly place them on cars. They wouldn't put them on all the cars because that would be a giveaway. No, they would randomly place them on just various cars through the lot. And when the Antifa crowd came back to get cars, they would see various vehicles with Trump stickers on it, and they would trash and smash them up and vandalize them and sometimes set them on fire. And they were burning their own side's cars. That is a work of art. That is chaos as a fine art. And that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Lead them into shooting themselves in the foot. I mean, we've got jobs right now businesses making all sorts of stupid statements. Could you imagine doing a mass write-in campaign to make them say something else equally ridiculous and nonsensical that would make them look bad? I mean, these people are completely out of touch. It's obvious that these decisions are being made by marketing people somewhere in Wall Street in an office who's never met a black person in their life. So they don't really know what this is about. It's about making money and sending the right message. That's why the get woke, go broke thing keeps happening, is they think they're sending some sort of correct message, like with Colin Kaepernick, and it blows up in their face. Um, so I mean, we could keep doing that over and over. Oh, there we go. Millie, that's great. Get black large member trending. That's you know, there are two houses in this neighborhood. Now, just to make very very clear, yes, I the terrible rotten atheist who just doesn't believe in any of this stuff, purposely moved to a Mormon neighborhood. Why? Well, Mormons respect where they live. Their neighborhood's clean. It's peaceful. They're generally very nice people. We Kat and I go out on our walks, and everyone says hi to each other, and it's a pleasant and safe place to live. And you know what? I deeply respect them for it. You know what? If Mormonism did that for them, Mormonism made them a very friendly people with a strong moral compass who care about their communities. You know what? Good for them. I think that's wonderful. And I'm happy to live right alongside them. But we have got two houses in this neighborhood, two, who are obviously rebels. And they have just cluttered their fucking yard with homemade BLM signs, right? And they've chalked up the sidewalks in front of their house. And so we always go by this one house, and it's got like all these names of supposed people that have been harmed by police on cardboard signs out front. And they've got this big Black Lives Matter pledge on their door and a sign that says, "Play it loud, play it proud, James Brown," and huge signs that say Black Lives Matter, down with the South, and just all this really stupid shit. Meanwhile, all the other houses are these well manicured lawns. They've got all this wonderful yard art. People take a real care in making, I don't know, for some reason, front yards here seem to be an art form. And some of them are even themed, which I find very interesting. Like they'll have like these folk art themes, or like one guy's got kind of this like Asian theme with a half moon bridge and a little stone creek and all this. It's just very beautiful. And then you've got this one house with all this just tacky Black Lives Matter bullshit smeared all over it. It would be great to go through there and replace all of their Black Lives Matter signs with Black Large Member instead. See how long it takes them to notice. I mean, that would be great. There are two houses like that. By the way, when we passed by that house during the 4th of July, 4th of July here was awesome, by the way. It's a bit of a wealthy neighborhood, I'll be up front. I'm not saying I'm wealthy because I'm not, but we live in we're like right on the border of it. And it's a very wealthy neighborhood. Since supposedly we weren't supposed to have 4th of July, these Mormon families bought their own professional grade fireworks and put on their own shows right out in the park. There was like 3 parks here, and they put on their own shows in the parks and in the front yards, and it was awesome. But the one house that I mentioned with all the BLM shit, they refused to engage. Instead, they shoved their speakers out the windows of their fucking house and played Bob Marley Get Up, Stand Up on a stupid fucking loop all night long. See, we've got to fuck with these people. These are the people we need to fuck with. Because, one of the things I find thoroughly, thoroughly obnoxious about this stance is in the 80s, I don't know, maybe this still exists, but I haven't seen it since like the 80s and early 90s. There was a certain breed of fundamentalist Christian in California that would, their yard would turn into this bizarre religious sort of shrine, but everything were these signs about you're going to burn in hell and, submit to Jesus or else kind of shit. And it was really obnoxious. And they were always an embarrassment to their fellow Christians who were just generally good people, right? But you'd have that one house, and there was this tone to all of their religious shit that was essentially saying, I'm saved, I'm a good person, you're shit. And I see the exact same tone with all this BLM shit in these yards. It's basically saying, I'm educating you ignorant racists who don't know better. And it is so fucking self-righteous. These self-righteous sons of bitches need to be fucked with. Okay, let's see. Hold on. Tell them saliva causes cancer, but only in small amounts over long periods of time. Well, that's almost Demolition Man, right? Um, One prank: have churches put up Saint Sebastian statues and other supposedly gay Bible figures. When Antifa wrecks them, tell them, tell the press that Antifa destroyed gay symbols. That's not a bad idea. By the way, Ricky Joya, I kind of know about that Saint Sebastian thing because I lived in San Francisco for a while, and I'm guessing you're Catholic. I always thought the image of Saint Sebastian was a very, very powerful image. It kind of was like seeing the image of the Ten of Swords. It's very, very shocking, right? And the story. It's even more powerful, which is why this stuff means so much, because the context. It's the context and the shorthand it gives us. But sadly, I know why gay people or certain gay men were fixated with, say, Saint Sebastian. Okay. And it was specifically because there was that sculpture. Now, was it Michelangelo who did it? Where it's this beautifully carved man with perfect musculature filled with arrows tied up. And I know for a fact that a lot of dudes who were into BDSM, specifically dudes guys who were masochists, who liked pain, got off on the fantasy of being Sebastian. It was an erotic image to them. And it's kind of disturbing if you think about it. Well, a lot of things are disturbing, but you get my point. Let's see. Who would have thought this I thought I was going to get on air and talk about not being able to sleep. Who knew that I was going to get shit? I got 22 people listening. Maybe I should do more of these when I can't sleep. Forced by the Gay Warlord sounds like an Amazon book. Yeah, I'll add a bubblegum. Is that a Chuck Tingle title? Sounds like it. Listening after putting up the hurricane shutters. I live in a desert and I want hurricane shutters. Okay, let's see. Forced Gay sounds like like it's Netflix rectum. Oh, well, did you duck out for a minute? Well, I'm very, very, very sorry, Owen, but we were talking about Saint Sebastian and the Guyver. So sorry you missed it, dude. They don't dare bring James Brown into this. Yeah, I guess they didn't mind the fact that he tried to run his wife over with a car. Now, in all actuality, I'll be upfront with you. After looking into that case with James Brown hitting his wife and trying to run her over with a car, I think the dude was thoroughly justified. She was a stalker and crazy and apparently all blown out on crack. But yeah, I actually, I know that he got smeared to no end for that. And, granted, you hear the story. James Brown tries to run his wife over with a car. It sounds pretty bad. But when you look into the actual case, that she had been hitting drugs, she wouldn't get off the drugs. I believe he locked her in a room trying to keep her off the crack, and she attacked him. And he finally snapped and tried to run her over. I can't say I'd do it any different if I was in his shoes. There's a song. Was it the Bloodhound Gang used to do one called, I'm going to run over beat my wife, or I'm going to hit her with a forklift. And big lunches matter. How about black olives matter? Do you remember that controversy? Ishi told us that the alien from Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was actually his cousin Harvey. I could do that. Yeah, that might be subject. I'm in the human suit, so I get to play skeptic right now. So, you guys actually understand why I'm so obsessed with the alien stuff, or do you care? Do you actually even care? Is it just entertaining to you? Oh, I think that's it for the coffee. Yeah, early morning stream, Caesar. Just for those of you who have just joined us, I've had horrible sleep issues all week. Basically, I have not been around. Um, Basically, I'll get up, I'll check the feed on Twitter to see if anything, cataclysmic has happened that I think the world should know about and share. Since again, that's the only way information gets shared. I'll comment on a few things and then just pass right back out. It's been pretty terrible, to be honest with you. But I got a full night's rest finally, so I'm up early and figured I'd say hi. In 2 hours, Kat and I are going to be driving out to check out to see if we can buy a house. That's the other thing. Okay, let's see. On a fun note, Owen Lister is hosting a Weeb Watch. Drumroll Goober. Also, would love to do a show talking more about being bullied as a nerd. I would love to bring you on for that. I really owe Owen a show too. I mean, the problem is we're starting to get a long list of people we need to bring on. And one of the ideas I'm toying with, I'm just trying to think of the format, is I want to do a panel show where I could like bring 3 or 4 of you on at a time, and I'd bring up a subject, and then each of you would get like 5-minute responses, and we could like cycle around. Now I'd have to maintain a pretty strict control so that it just doesn't become a wall of noise. But it would be a good way to get a lot of you on, and maybe more of us could socialize, because I know that a lot of you we should have a lot more of you on. I think it's time to get more interaction from the audience. And I don't know, Kat and I were discussing various Japanese panel shows and how fun they are. And we're just like, how could we do that on air? How could we do the equivalent? I mean, have any of you ever seen Hey Spring of Trivia? Unfortunately, I think only 2 episodes are available on YouTube, but they used to run a straight translated version on Spiked in the 90s, for Spike TV. And it was fucking great. We'd love to do something like that if we could. Let's see, who else we got going on? So we were talking about a couple of, I actually thought it was daylight, but my TV was still on after watching Nick Recchia, I don't know. Lawyer guy, Nick the lawyer guy. Also, I'd love to come on some of your shows if possible. Okay. Oh, do the Kiki series from Geki no Tsukai. Okay, so anyway, I know, like about 4 topics I autistically obsess over, and you could ask me, yeah, exactly. What are some of these squeaky pickles? Are you one of the people who want to come on air? One thing that always nails it out of the park for us as far as ratings is boobs. And, I realize it's cheap and it's pandering, but let's face it. Let's be honest. Boobs are wonderful. Boobs are a wonderful fucking thing. And they're so simple and easy. And yet they're right there. And they bring such happiness. And not only do they bring such happiness, they piss off all the right people. It's like, if there was ever a true sign of superpowers endowed to certain gifted women, it would have to be boobs. Think about it. They're hypnotic, they're calming, they're arousing, they cause car accidents if they're too distracting, and yet they also enrage and harm and infuriate all the right people. So, that would obviously be another great one that we could do a panel show on. We are mammals. Boobs are our identity. Well, they kind of are, actually. Who was the Japanese game maker who had the slogan, boobs is life? Squeaky Pickles, get me ranting on how much I hate feminism and I will never stop. Shit, I could just get you and Kat talking. That's another one. Whenever we do a fuck feminism show, that just goes through the roof on ratings. Everyone loves that. Especially if it's women. I mean, it's not hard to find men to do it, but really, let's face it, when you get women who step up and say, no, look, they're all lying to you. This is the truth. It's a very powerful statement. Hold on. Hey, Kat. Let's see if we can get her to come in. She just woke up. All right, let's see. Hey, come, want to say hi?
Oh, who are you talking to?
I'm talking to 22 of our listeners.
Oh,
Come say hi.
morning, everyone.
Now, I was telling the boobs are just a miracle. Uh, the boobs are life. That if there was a true superpower endowed to certain people with the double X gene,
Yeah,
it would have to be boobs.
that is a superpower, yes.
Say hi, and then I think you want to go back to sleep, don't you?
Hi, everybody.
One more time.
Hi, everybody.
She's really tired. I take it you just stumbled out of bed.
Yeah, I'll be up in probably a half hour.
Well, don't we have to get out of here in two?
Uh, we should get out of here no later than 9.
9. Okay, so before. Okay, so we don't have much time, do we? Okay, so I'm probably going to cut this show off in about a half hour then. I got to shower off and get ready for the house showing as well. Yes, cat was pretty sleepy, but dressed in a nice outfit, so that doesn't hurt. And by nice outfit, I mean not much of anything. Um, Boobs are a pain for you to draw, are they, Owen? Well, but they're also fun to practice, right? Hmm. So yeah, if any of you can also think of other great gags or really what would be great is if we could create some sort of stealth meme campaign where if we could convince all the angry BLM people and especially the Antifa people that revolutionaries don't vote in November, they rebel, and basically start this slogan encouraging all the kids out there rioting and raising hell not to vote and to pressure other people who are against Trump not to vote would be a great strategy. And the thing is, you think nobody's that dumb, but I lived in San Francisco. No, they're that dumb. If you can convince them it's the cool thing to do and the revolutionary thing to do, oh yeah, they'll do it. Um, let's see. Okay. Gonna make breakfast, need to regain my strength. What's breakfast gonna be, Damien? Um, did you see the clip of Valmet from yeah, that was pretty hot, Caesar. I appreciated that. Buff women with knives and boobs. That's pretty much my marriage. That's the way it goes. Um, you've been on for 50 minutes. It's all good. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much my life at the moment. I've been writing. I'm finally writing regularly again. That makes me happy. I've been getting some great art from the guy that I'm working with. Oh, that reminds me, the Wall of Moms suffered a massive downfall all over the 305 charity filings. It's not hard to trigger infighting with those groups. It's just another thing. If we could sow those seeds of infighting, that would be good. I mean, Contel Pro in the 60s and 70s very effectively did that. I mean, I can't imagine it's that difficult to do at this point. I mean, it's amazing how quickly a meme can catch on and they'll all believe it. So, um, other thing that I find interesting is I never really put much stock into this. But have you noticed, and I'm just saying this, I'm not saying I take it seriously, but I find it curious how upset they get over QAnon, okay? I mean, the internet is full of all sorts of bizarre theories, just like I said, lizards run the world, okay? I mean, you can go down one hell of a rabbit hole on reptoids, right? Spirit science is another one. And they all say really offensive shit. But QAnon is the one they all want banned. Why? And that makes me wonder. That is really making me wonder. Okay, now clearly a lot of that stuff is just whack job weird shit, as everything is on the internet. But there has to be something in that QAnon stuff that's really pissing them off. Because when they got what's his name? Hold on, give me a second. The guy from okay, uh, Google, they had him testify. It was Sundar Pichai was testifying before Congress, was it a day or two ago? And I found it very curious of all the things that they were upset about from the Democrats, because the Republicans were talking about stuff that's legit, stuff we've all experienced. Having our channels censored, having a Hotep come on your show and just talk about his opinions about Black Lives Matters being suddenly censored by YouTube. That was what the Republicans were talking about. What I found very fascinating was that the Democrats made a very, very strong point of saying that they wanted QAnon vanished from the web and that they wanted specific videos vanished from the web. And you've got to wonder, why of all things would that be the thing that you're upset about? I mean, from an outsider's perspective, I'd say 99% of that stuff seems like really, really nutty. And just like, why bother? So for them to be that upset makes me start thinking, okay, well, what's in there that's on the money? What is correct? What is real? And all that the Democrats feel that it needs to be removed. I mean, I know that they went after Milo, but Milo was saying a lot of stuff that was very accurate. They went after Alex Jones, and while he said some stuff that was true, I think really what they didn't like about Alex Jones is he was making fun of them, and it was getting us all to laugh. I mean, it was kind of a place where we would all go to gather around Uncle Alex and watch him say stuff that was just, okay, some of it was true, like gay frogs, but then he would always take it to 11 and take it to a level that was just beyond believability. And it was funny. The parts where he'd run around screaming that Hillary was a demon and he'd rip his shirt off. I mean, that was entertainment. I mean, that was essentially Stephen Colbert for the right wing. So, I mean, I think they pulled him off the air and made him disappear from the internet because they didn't like being laughed at. So, what is it about QAnon that's got them so upset? I mean, it's just like they hate the hacker called 4chan. Well, we know why. The 4chan, because 4chan keeps making them look like buffoons and seems to have a talent for turning up video clips that turn out to be real. So, if any of you can tell me what you think specifically it is that's got the Democrats so pissed off about QAnon, why they're so mad about it. Because I can think of all sorts of other weird conspiracy throughout history that nobody cared about, that people believed. I mean, that nobody cared about. So just you let me know. Let me know. I'm quite curious. Let's see. I run for exercise. I can use the carbs. Yeah, it's too hot here, unfortunately, to go for runs unless you get up really early in the morning. We do an elliptical, which are very effective. Although I don't eat carbs, it's primarily eat protein and coffee. That's my diet. Protein, coffee, and oranges. Um, let's see. I stand with Japan. Okay. Well, it seems like the comments are sort of slowing down here, guys. Endless Nocturne. They hate being laughed at, but they also don't like their useful idiots being siphoned away by other cults. Okay, I buy that. I thoroughly buy that. Ahem. What am I missing, Samuel? Oh, I expect a lot of suicides coming out now that. Oh, that's totally real. Ghislaine Maxwell, those are totally real. And yeah, I did QAnon reveal a bunch of that stuff? Is that part of the reason they're so upset? Because yeah, the more and more things about that are just creepy as shit. The stuff that all came out recently about was it um, Clinton, Chris Tucker, Prince Andrew, and Kevin Spacey were quite disturbing. Also, it was a little weird seeing Bill Gates try and walk back all this shit where he basically went on national television and said, proved all the conspiracy theories right on him. I mean, I would not be shocked that if like in 20 years he goes down as like where he's remembered as essentially the equivalent to Mengele. Let's see. Do you drink that all from sippy cups? No, I can drink from a human suit. I can drink through my mouth. I use a I used the Louder with Crowder mug I own. I have a couple others like the Los Alamos test site lab cup. That's one of my favorites, and it has a map of where all the detonations went off, and got a few others. But right now, my favorite's the Louder with Crowder mug. Hey, beautiful, what's going on?
I thought I'd come and hang out.
Don't mention the sealant on being confirmed to have. I'm sorry, I'm lost. Oh, yeah, Billy Boy, old President Billy has been on the island. Yeah, but the thing is we've known that for so long. It was just, I mean, the whole tactic with him was no. It was like all the evidence is right there in front of us, and his rebuttal and the press's rebuttal was no, no, no. Have not. Yes. Have you seen the trailer for Lovecraft Country? Just did, and I want to scream. I'm just refusing to accept it exists. Oh, Bubba was real deep into that. Yeah, it's kind of depressing. Uh, any opinions on the Frazzle drip? Do you think that shit's real? I mean, if it is, it makes me want to go in the bathroom and vomit. But just out of curiosity, a little curious on that. All right. Well, anyway, if you guys can think of any other useful pranks, and let me tell you, if Antifa does come to the city, I think I'm going to have to buy myself a big stack of Trump 2020 bumper stickers and a nice hoodie to go to the tailgate and do that trick, because that just sounds like a wonderful form of sabotage.
This campaign's giving away signs.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. I actually want the fuck your feelings flag.
That was great.
I had that right next to the American flag out front of our new house.
Yeah.
The 2020 fuck your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys have seen that flag, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. But, in other news, if you care, I've got new Great Big Alien Show merchandise, 3 different t-shirts, if you care. Also, I've made some very amusing masks, if you care to, disease masks or plague masks, if you want to wear them. My favorite being the one that says, "Fear is profit." Wear that into Walmart. But give me a second.
I like the COVID 1984.
Yeah, the COVID 1984. But another great thing about the Trump stuff is you don't even have to be, even for the people out there who don't like him, just triggering these fuckers is worth it, right? I mean, I'll be upfront, I'm voting for him. I don't want this country to blow up. I want to maintain at least another 4 years of stability. That, and I'd like to see certain people go to prison. But yeah, these are the Great Big Alien Show t-shirts. If you're curious, I'm going to order a few myself. Also, it posted them weird, didn't it? We're considering doing some live streams eventually where we go out. I might get a GoPro once I can afford it, and we'd like to hit some real locations. And I will go out as the human or an alien in a human suit, and I will interview people. I'd like to go to some of these alien conventions. I'd like to go to the spot of where Travis Walton was abducted, maybe talk to the townspeople, and maybe hit Roswell, New Mexico, and do some of these field trips when it's a little more affordable, and interview people as an alien, and just tell them I disagree with certain stuff, and what the truth really is. Spaceballs, the coffee mug. The more people get wealth and power, the more they have to pervert and twist to feel anything. I don't necessarily buy that. I think that's a character judgment. I think it's that certain particularly ruthless and sociopathic people have an ability to get ahead because they're willing to do anything to get ahead. People with morals aren't going to do certain things. People with humanity and empathy aren't going to hurt people just for their own gain. I mean, so you look at people like, say, Bill Gates, who, robbed and stole and lied his way to the top. Are we really shocked he's a sociopath? Hillary, are we really shocked? Soros, the guy was a fucking Nazi. Are we? Not only was he a Nazi, his job as a Nazi was selling out other Jews and taking their stuff. Are we really shocked that those kinds of people can get ahead in certain forms of business? It so no, don't say it's wealth and power, because power does not corrupt absolutely. It corrupts people who are weak. It corrupts people who are cowards, people who are essentially shit. People who succumb to that sort of thing are already bad people. You can be moral, you can be just, you have to have a code, okay? That's essentially it. You've got to have a moral compass and you've got to stick to it. And that's essentially the change that we have seen, is that there's been in this embracing of nothing means anything. There's been an embracing of nihilism. If nothing matters, it's okay to do anything, right? And so that's what happens. And we see that on the left constantly, postmodernism. Well, nothing means anything. Fuck it. So, there's been plenty of moral people through history that used what they had for, altruistic and beneficial means, because they really did give a damn. And another thing about people who say the absolute power corrupts absolutely, no. The people who say that are fucking assholes, because not only are they excusing their own weakness, they're damning you in the process. They're claiming, oh, well, if you were in my shoes, you'd do it too. So it's okay. It's perfectly okay that I'm doing this, because if you were in my shoes, you'd do it too. No, you have every right, if you were a moral and just person, to look them in the face and say, no, I'm better than you. And it's time we start embracing that and believing that and remembering that. No, if you're a moral person who really does believe there is good and bad, good and evil, right and wrong, that you believe in humanity and empathy, and that that you're going to feel like shit if you harm another person, that you wouldn't want that to happen to you. No, you were better than them. You were better than these sociopathic assholes. They're shitting on everyone else, and you might as well have some pride in that, and be willing to say so. Where did it? Oh, okay. Do deep one's lives matter? Well, no, actually, and nor do orcs. Nor do orcs' lives matter. I'm just saying. Fair enough. I have become a bit jaded. Well, that's easy to do. That is very, very easy to do. Holy shit! Ishi in the morning. Should I do this more? I just never figured any of you would be listening at this hour. I know that I probably usually wouldn't, but, sleep's been all fucked up. But morals are a social construct. Wolf. Well, you know what? We can take that from, let's take it from a purely evolutionary and social angle. Let's cut out the religious side, because, okay, I'm an atheist, right? Let's make an argument. Clearly, our society constructed a set of morals, and they served us well. They were socially beneficial for everybody, and they've allowed forward progress, and they've created the freest and most essentially the best country ever in existence. We are economically successful. We are fair. We have more rights than any other society in history. If those morals are a social construct, we damn well better hold on to them. Okay? But there's also evolutionary evidence that no, certain species do veer towards concepts of altruism, fair play, empathy, humanity, things that we would dub humanity. Okay? And the reason being is that I've seen our rats do it, and they don't have religion to teach them this. They don't have anything other than a very, very basic social structure. Yes, rats do have them, that they pass down these notions to each other, And to some degree, they've evolved them. They've evolved empathy and altruism. And let me tell you, the asshole rats don't survive because after a while, nobody likes them. Um, I've seen rats take care of each other, perfect strangers. I've seen rats risk their lives to save rats they'd never known before, of different colorations, of different well, they're not called packs; they're called mischiefs of rats. Um, so clearly there is an evolutionary imperative to these values, and at least some of us have them. No, I don't believe all of us have them. I think that humanity is in a in between space in our evolution, and we're struggling with it. So yeah, let's take the argument they're a social construct. Well, we constructed some pretty damn good morals, and they came out of and that construct came out of Christianity. So let's hold on to it, right? Right? Because frankly, nihilism's shit. Endless Nocturne. Power, absolute power does corrupt, absolutely. I try to have my weakness, but if I could snap my fingers and get revenge on anything, I would fail to temptation more than I would like. Well, um, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that, Endless Nocturne. I can't say the same. I mean, I had a man try to murder me, and I I don't think I could do it. I don't think even if I could make him suffer or just vanish off this earth, I would. Um, I know that man's got a family and he's got children, and he's got a wife, and I couldn't do it. No, only if he came at me again. If he tried to get me again, or if I knew he was going to try and hurt somebody else. But as he is, this guy's no, I couldn't do that. Um, if I could snap my fingers and make Soros evaporate, that'd be a different story. But no, I can't say I'm with you on that. There's been plenty of situations in my life in which I could have easily taken advantage of people without consequence, and I just couldn't do it. I had to live with myself. I have a very, very high expectation of myself on that regard. I looked back through my past as a young man, and there were multiple times that I could have very easily um, lulled attractive young women into spreading their legs for me, but I knew ultimately that was all I'd want, and that they expected something else, and I couldn't bring myself to do it because I just felt like I'd be complete shit. So I can't say we all feel that way. And if you feel that way, Endless, have higher expectations for yourself. There's nothing wrong with having a code and aiming higher. Um, on the other hand, if believing you'll go to hell keeps you from doing bad things, well, good. That's good. Okay. Stick to it. Lister, he. I'm going to allow that since I like Star Kid. Okay. This is nice listening to while I clean. I'm not contributing during it, but thanks for the conversation, keeping the conversation going. Adam, I am still thoroughly baffled that you guys find my rambling that interesting. But you know what? Good. If I can bring something to your day, if you guys like hanging out, all the better. Now go buy my book. um, Moral code. What would Superman do? Well, Superman's an interesting case because, yeah, he can do anything, right? And I think that's what makes the Superman archetype so damn important, is that here's an individual who could literally be a tyrant and take over and do whatever the fuck he wanted, and he doesn't. Why? And we could say, well, maybe he was also born superior in morals. I mean, that's a mythology you could give him. Or you could say maybe it was because he was raised humbly by the Kents, by two, salt of the earth people who believed in, basic American values of, life, liberty, happiness, all equal in the eyes of our Creator, etc., etc. Um, but ultimately, it doesn't matter. What it is that Superman is an ideal. He is an archetype to strive for, right? Here's someone who could do everything, who could have anything he wants, and he doesn't. That's worth striving for, right? Just as Batman is a archetypal ideal in someone who went through hell and chose not to be a victim of it, chose not to succumb to darkness, chose to stay on the side of right and push back when all else failed. Okay. What would Solomon Kane do? He'd shoot people. Uh, Also, I would say that's why Batman and Superman are so thoroughly loathed by the current crop of SJWs and intersectional justice warriors at DC, is that those two characters are two idealized archetypes. They're things for us to look up to and strive to. And when you have things to strive to, when there is the concept of something better, nihilism fails, social justice and their constructs fail. Because even if you argue that there are constructs, the Batman and Superman archetypes are constructs that are better than the ones they're selling us, right? Hence, they have to be destroyed. Okay. Bubblegum, all out of bubblegum. I like hearing someone else's viewpoint on things and not having to be told I suck or that I'm wrong or that everything I do and say, thanks, J.Ishiro. Well, to pretend we have all the answers is pretty arrogant. And I'm a firm believer that we need that broad tent and that humbleness is not a bad thing. And even as an atheist who doesn't have faith, I have to be humble and admit, no. Christianity has done a whole lot of good, and that we would not have the civil society we do without the New Testament. And I do say specifically the New Testament. The Old Testament definitely is there for context and did lay the groundwork for the rules of a Bronze Age civilization, but it really was the Prince of Peace in Christ and the higher vision that he brought as a story and as a leader to civilization that allowed us to move out of the brutality of Roman paganism and what came prior to it, really. And there's a strong argument to say that a lot of that does have to do with the fact that those stories were interpreted through the Greeks, who brought a lot of Plato and Aristotle. The Greek philosophies definitely brought a lot to that story. Later in the Middle Ages, again, I'm not trying to insult anyone's beliefs. This if you feel, it's still divinely inspired, more power to you. But there's a lot of evidence to suggest that the story of the Good Samaritan was actually written in the Middle Ages in Britain, no less, and that was a creation of the British Empire or possibly the church during the Middle Ages, one of the two. They're not sure. But that the wording and the structuring and the way that it's put together, it may not have actually originally been there. It may have been Apocrypha that was added later. It doesn't matter. Look what it did. Its outcome cannot be devalued. And yeah, maybe humans came up with it. Maybe God made them do it. It doesn't really matter. It got us here. And yeah, it would be arrogant to think I'm completely right. But even more to the point, we need different points of view. If everyone thought like me, I think we'd all be miserable. We need other people that think differently to disagree with me to balance it out. So, yeah, it's anytime that we get this idea that the big tent's no longer welcome, when we get these ideological assholes like the left demanding ideological purity. Owen, my view is that the greatest sin you can do is to a film is make it boring. Agreed. I thought that was a moral argument, but yeah, Solomon Kane definitely is an Old Testament guy. Someone Kane would say, "Kill them all and let God sort them out." I agree with that, and I think that's actually what makes him such a great character, though, right? Right? He is one cold son of a bitch, but he's also incorruptible, right? Okay. Most boring movie guys you've seen in recent. Most boring movie you guys have seen in recent times. Oh God, recently? Kat, can you vote to that?
Oh, what was that movie that we caught on Amazon that just didn't go anywhere for like 45 minutes?
I don't even remember its name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's probably some shit that Amazon made themselves. Um, all right. Well, I'm going to call it a day because I got to start my morning. Like I said, Kat and I are house hunting. If any of you make it out to the Arizona area, let us know. I still have to contact Trenton. Trenton, if you're listening, I'm very, very sorry. At some point, we're going to have to hang out. Oh, by the way, look up a movie called Bugsy Malone. It's a gangster film played by children with pedal cars and guns that shot marshmallows. That is a weird film. I recall that, and it's a surreal dream. And I have heard the weirdest theories about that film, what it's really about. Some people claim that, in fact, they're all in limbo. Some claim that it's a child's fantasy. But yeah, they all shoot marshmallows, and they have the scene where the guy's marshmallowed to death. It had Scott Baio in it, right? Chachi. All right. Well, good morning to you guys. Have a good time. Don't let anyone push you around, and let's start making life difficult on these assholes that are making our lives difficult. Let's start pranking them. Let's start laughing at them. If you guys can think of some good organized prank, let's do it. And I agree. Let's like large members matter. How about put that up? All right. Have a good day.